Johnson.
Illustrate for the plaintiff.
Hello. What's your name?
Sarah Johnson.
Okay. And where are we on this one? She said she was moving by the 31st.
I've been moving, Your Honor, but I've been doing this all by myself. So I was intending to have keys back to them on Wednesday, which is the last day of my lease. That unfortunately did not happen. I was there all last night till like 2:00 this morning, moving stuff. I got back up this morning, called off work, and I've been there all day. I had a rather rude call from the apartment complex this morning, asking me about the keys, making threats to me, telling me she'd been in my apartment and asking if I had, intended to leave it in that condition. And I said, well, I didn't give you keys. I'm still in the process of moving out. You didn't have permission to come in my apartment. She's now telling me she's going to charge me another whole month's rent. And I literally left there with a load of stuff in my car to come here for this hearing. I don't even understand. I'm kind of frustrated that they dragged me into court because they're the ones that said they weren't.
Well, ma'am,
I know I owe them. I applied for an SER and they denied me.
Okay, but ma'am, you had said that you were going to move by the 31st.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've been doing everything I can to do so. I'm down to probably 2 carloads of things. I've been moving stuff with my car all week long. I tried to contact the attorney to be look, I don't have time to be in court because I'm taking off of work to do this. I'm trying to get moved. And they just were go to court. Every time that I've communicated with them, they either don't respond to me or they, just are rude.
You're not telling me my office is rude. I know that's not true.
I contacted them and I said, look, please don't make me have to go to court. I'm turning keys in at the end of my lease like you guys asked to. And she just said, show up in court. And
here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to, how much is owing through? Well, there was 2737.
3675, including 237 in cost.
How much?
Actually, 3675 plus 237 for 3912. That does include February because it is February.
Right. And it would be due and owing. I'm going to find after hearing, but there's no.
The days that I have had the keys.
Did they leave? I'm going to find no tribal issue. I'm going to grant judgment for possession to the plaintiff as well as a money judgment in the amount of 3912. Money judgment was requested. That's going to be retroactive back to the date where a plaintiff did not ask for a judgment because you were moving by the 31st. So that's going to take 5 days off of it. You're almost out of the premises. So a writ would issue the 5th or the 6th, excuse me, of February. Thank you.
Sir, I applied for an SER and they denied me. And I didn't even try to bring it up.
Ma'am, they're not going to pay if you're no longer in the unit.
At the time I applied, I was still there and they told me that they would not take my summons. That I don't know why he told me that my summons was not an eviction and that they denied me because the summons was not.
Okay, but if they took it now, what do you think is going to happen? SER is not going to pay this amount.
I know. I understand that I owe them, but I'm trying to keep it down as much as I can because I cannot afford to pay this.
Okay.
I can't afford to pay the whole February. I did not pay them December and January because I had to use that money to move because they were supposed to renew my lease.
And here's what you do. I've given you to the 6th to get out of the premises.
I'm trying to have keys there today at
If
5.
you're gonna talk, then I'm not going.
I'm sorry.
I've given you to the 6th to get out now that you haven't moved. What I'm going to suggest regarding the monetary portion is that you contact the landlord or Mr. Friedman and arrange a payment plan for that amount. That's the best way to handle this. Okay? SER, Hawk, anybody else, they're not going to pay this. So you arrange a payment plan. I've given you a little bit more time to get yourself out of there, turn in the keys, and you're going to be good.
So then am I gonna have to pay the whole month of February? If
I've included the amount of February in here. You can talk to them about that. February is due. Okay? That's the way it works. Thank you.
We enter into payment plans all the time.
That's right.
So is that also gonna show up on a judgment on my,
Ma'am, yes, it is. Don't wave me like that.
I'm trying to work with them and they were not willing to work with me. I called them, asked them to not cancel my lease and they didn't even return my phone calls. Like I got bad landlord verifications from them, so I couldn't find a place to move to.
Yeah, that's a part.
Sorry. Like,
Ma'am, I understand the frustration. That's why you didn't get a judgment the last time you were here.
yeah.
I gave you to the 31st. You said you were going to move. I realize the circumstance that you're in now, but I have to also be fair to the landlord.
And I
And
know I'm gonna owe them the money, but every amount that you put on here is just putting me deeper into.
what do you want me to do?
I would like to not have to pay the entire month of
Then talk.
February. I would like to have the keys turned in by 5:30 today, which I have enough time to do.
Ma'am, if you turn in the keys, then you have a good argument to talk to them about not having to pay February. The problem is right now, you still have possession of those premises. Your February rent became due yesterday.
And I have a 3-day grace to pay it, which is tomorrow.
Ma'am, I don't know what you're asking in terms of that.
Nothing. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I don't know what. Oh, that's pallets. Okay, they're on.
Yes.
Okay. Court does call the case of Arbor Woods versus Sarah Gillespie.
What's your name?
I'm here representing Brian Musgrove.
You're Brian Musgrove?
I'm here representing.
I have no idea what that means, so why don't you come up to the podium?
I tried to.
Nope, yeah, stand in front of the thing. So what is your name?
Brian Joseph Musgrove.
Okay, are you an attorney? What's your P number?
I'm not an attorney.
So then you can't represent Brian Musgrove. So
I'm
you are a defendant, correct?
an executor on that estate.
Okay, so none of that is valid or legal. So you have an attorney?
He's not doing nothing for me.
Okay, that was my question. Do you have an attorney, yes or no?
I have, yeah, he was supposed to be representing me, but
So you have Michael Dagger Margosian. Okay, so he's your attorney. Okay, so go have a seat. When Mr. Dagger Margosian gets here, I'll call your case, okay? So, Mr. Musgrove, you want to come up to the podium, please? This is in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Brian Joseph Musgrove, file number 23-21461FH. I have Isaac Sneed appearing on behalf of the people, and I have Michael Dagger Margosian appearing on behalf of Mr. Musgrove. Mr. Dagger Margosian might, oh, there he is. So, Mr. Dagger Margosian, this is a date and time set for pre-trial in this matter. Mr. Musgrove said that he was appearing on his own behalf. I did verify he is not an attorney, and you are still the attorney of record. So, Mr. Dagger Margosian, how do you wish to proceed?
Well, Your Honor, I am aware that Mr. Musgrove wants to present information to the court. I'm happy to be standby counsel if he wants to represent himself. Obviously, this court would have to go through the colloquy of that, but obviously it's Mr. Musgrove's legal right to at least ask the court to do that. So I'm here to observe at this point.
All right. So, Mr. Musgrove, when you were at the bench or up at the podium before, you said that you were appearing on behalf of yourself. So, Mr. Musgrove, are you asking to no longer have counsel represent you?
Well, what I'm understanding is that the courts is a private for-profit.
So, Mr. Musgrove, I know where you're going with this, and none of that is valid. None of that is law.
I'm not the all caps name. Of course.
None of that is valid. None of that is law. You are standing in my courtroom. I have jurisdiction over you. So.
I tried to file paperwork with the clerk's office ahead of time so that you would have time to review it, and they denied me.
I know what you're talking about. None of that is valid under the law of the state of Michigan or the Constitution of the United States of America.
What do you mean it is?
No.
The Supreme Court says it is.
What does it say it is?
The Supreme Court says that if we were at the age of 18, we were supposed to claim our minor status.
Nope, not valid.
Okay.
So here's what I would say to you. Mr. Dagger Markosian is, like most of our public defenders, exceptional attorneys and very well versed in the law and very experienced. He gives legal advice. You may not like the legal advice, but it's usually good advice. I've never had anyone from the public defender's office not wholeheartedly try to represent their clients. So what you are talking about is not valid, and it is not going to get you out of this case. You're not going to be able to say all those things because it's not valid.
Everyone involved in this court case has a financial interest in the case. I
don't have a financial interest in your case. I get paid by the state of Michigan, whether you plead, whether it gets dismissed. I don't make any money off you. We have budgets. The court system is not a profit generating revenue. We are here to represent people so that people who are charged with crimes are protected. People who are victims of crimes are protected. And that's why we have.
But in order for there to be a crime, there has to be a victim. There is no.
Well, there is a victim in this case.
The victim would be the company.
You are charged.
I can't face.
Actually, just hold on. So your crime that you are charged with, which you are innocent as of this time, let me grab the right file, is failure. Oh, this is let me see. This is an embezzlement charge. So you are charged in count one with embezzlement 50,000 or more, but less than 100,000. That being an agent, servant, or employee of Hardwoods of Michigan Industries did convert to your own use without the consent of your employer or principal industrial tools and equipment in the amount of $68,938.40 or money or equipment. And that's a 15-year felony. So if you are found guilty by a jury, you can go to prison for up to 15 years. You're charged in count two with using a computer to commit a crime. To facilitate the charge in count one, that carries a maximum penalty of up to 10 years in prison. And the way the statute's set up, I can actually stack those possibly. So you potentially could be looking at up to 25 years in prison. So the victim that's alleged in this would be that business.
Right, and I can't face that accuser because that business can't get on the stand for me to ask questions, and a third party.
But their representative can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. So I have 189,000 of student loan debt that was forgiven to be a lawyer. You do not. And Mr. Dagger Margosian, Mr. Isaac Sneed, all of the attorneys here went to law school to know the law, and their job is to advise you of the law. So
Yeah,
yes, they can. Yes, you can be charged.
Everything, all the laws and statutes that you guys go by
are legal.
For corporations. They're for fixed.
Still a crime. Still a crime.
But I'm not
Still
a
a
fictitious
crime.
corporation. I'm a living person.
Yep, and that's why you're standing in front of me. If you were dead, the case would be dismissed.
Yeah, the all caps name is that.
That means nothing. That's not valid.
Okay.
It's not legal.
Right.
So do you want to represent yourself or do you want to have an attorney to represent you?
I need some time to think.
Okay, I'm gonna set this for another pretrial on March 20th at 8:30 in the morning. And Miss Adams, could I get a notice of hearing for Mr. Musgrove?
Yes, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Musgrove, have a seat on that bench right behind you. And then Miss Adams will give my bailiff a notice of hearing, and my bailiff will provide that notice of hearing to you. Mr. Dagger Margosian, did you have any other matters in my court this morning?